Well. It has been 2 long weeks that I've been away. How's it going, guys? My name is Jared Fuller, aka the Jerry Bear, and this is the first Sunday video update since I don't know, before 2 weeks ago. Um, my name is Jared Fuller. Thank you so much for stopping by. It is officially 3 o'clock Eastern time. I am flying solo. Um, so much to get to, a lot to cover. I've been away from the Sunday video update for the past couple weeks, so I'm going to do my best to cram the past 2 weeks of information into one solid hour, and I'm going to try to do that as efficiently and as expeditiously as possible. I hope you've all been doing well. So this past Saturday, not yesterday, but the Saturday before, I was on vacation. I was out of Michigan, if I can talk right away. Um, and I came back on Wednesday. It was an awesome time. I got to meet a cancer survivor. I stayed with some friends whose grandson is on the autism spectrum, so that was, really fun. I had a wonderful time being away from home. Um, and the Sunday before that, it was actually the same week as I left, so it would have been on Easter Sunday, 2 weeks ago. I had taken off Easter Sunday because, of course, it's Easter. So what I did was I dressed up as a Easter bunny for, um, some neighborhood kids, and I walked through Chesaning. Dad dropped me off at, I wanna say, River Rapids Library, for those of you who are familiar with the downtown area of Chesaning. He dropped me off at River Rapids Library, and I walked through the downtown district. I had, cars, people are honking and waving, and, I walked all the way to the Bonnie Mill Inn, or the old Bonnie Mill Inn. I think now it's a quilt shop or somewhere where you go to design quilts. I had a great reception from that, but a lot of people didn't know that it was actually me in the, bunny costume. I had discovered quickly that, the bunny costume is actually too small for me, so next year, I'm gonna have a costume that's the next size bigger, or I might look into getting another design of a bunny costume, but it was a lot of fun. So I entertained some kids, and it was Dad's idea for me to go to Chesaning Comfort Care. And I walked around the facility, and, of course, there's a lot of, decrepit octogenarian types. Provided that it is a comfort care, there's a lot of elderly people, and, that was awesome. It was an awesome idea. I thank Dad, I don't know, maybe 1,000 times for coming up with that suggestion, but these people were just glowing, they were smiling. Not all of them, not everyone was ready to have a picture taken. A lot of them didn't wanna be bothered, which I totally understand. I wasn't gonna fight them on it. I wasn't upset in any way. Um, but one of the gentlemen that I went to see, I went into his room, and he he had my hand, and he just kept shaking my hand because I was sitting at bedside, and he was shaking my hand and just laughing, giggling, like he was having a great time, and I had my other hand, and I'm gently rubbing the back of his hand, and, he loved it. He loved it, and, I think that was a highlight of that gentleman's day. They never had an Easter bunny at their facility prior to me going there dressing up as an Easter bunny, so, it was kind of interesting to know that I would be the first person to, entertain the notion of even going inside of the comfort care facility dressed as the Easter bunny. Um, it got really hot inside of the suit. I had trouble breathing. I had to keep lifting the head up on the costume just so I could breathe. They've got 2 little pinholes where the whiskers are on the bunny rabbit, and I can't breathe through, little pinholes. So, Dad said he was gonna fix that for me. Actually, it's gonna be his costume if I decide to get a new costume, one that I can actually fit into. Um, and then, of course, after that, I went to visit my friend Kelly, and I was the Easter bunny for her daughter. She is just a toddler. I think she's 3 or 4. Um, she's gonna kill me because I forgot her age, but anyway, I think she's 3. I think she's 3 years old, and she was so happy. Kelly says, "Well, I don't know how she's gonna react to the Easter bunny, she might be afraid and she might not, come up to you." Quite the contrary. She saw the Easter bunny and she was ecstatic. She ran right up to me, hugged me around the waist. I kinda had to kneel down and hug her, and, she was just really happy. It was so awesome. Um, yeah, so my Easter was phenomenal. It was absolutely amazing. It was probably one of the best Easter holidays I've had in quite some time. Um, so yeah, my Easter was great. I hope your Easter was great. Now I was on vacation. I'm gonna kinda talk about this, but I don't wanna get into too much detail. So, I spent from a Saturday to a Wednesday with some friends of mine whose grandson is on the autism spectrum. Um, I got to witness and experience firsthand how autistic children are, and it's not there's no blanket statement on how autistic children behave, because every child's different, obviously. But I witnessed and experienced the autistic meltdown from a 5-year-old, and it lasted for 2 hours. And so he's swinging his hands at me. He is, hands are flying, arms are flying, and I'm blocking all of his hits, all of his swings. And every time I would block a swing, I would say, "I love you. I love you." And then eventually I'd have a wrist in each hand. And I make my eyes really big like this. And I told him, I said, "I love you, but this is not going to happen." And his dad or his grandpa come walking in. I said, "Here you go, grandpa. You deal with him now." And yeah, the meltdown lasted for 2 hours. I was not mean to the child. I was just trying to stop him from hitting me. Um, and so that lasted for about 2 hours. And then the next day, it's like he had forgotten all about it. It's like nothing happened. We were buddies again. I don't love the kid any less than I did before, just because he had a meltdown or because he had taken some swings at me. Um, that's just how that is. That's just the way that works. Uh, they were happy about me being out there, where I was, and they want me to come back, and they're actually planning a trip to come in my direction. But I don't think I'm going to be traveling for a while after that, and I'm going to get to the reasons why I'm not going to be traveling. So I got a phone call from my mom, and I was out where I was, and she called me in hysterics, and she was very, very upset. And she told me that they found spots on her lungs. So they're thinking that her bladder cancer may have metastasized to her lungs. And so she's got appointments coming up. I'm really super pissed at some of these medical professionals who keep her constantly waiting, because she was supposed to have a tumor removed from her bladder before they could administer chemo and radiation. That was the plan. That hasn't happened yet. None of that has happened yet. And I'm really upset about that because this should have been taken care of a long time ago, and it hasn't been done yet. And my mom called me crying. She was in hysterics, and she says they found spots on my lungs. They think that the bladder cancer has metastasized to my lungs, and I'm going to have to go in to have some more testing done at a later date and time, which I think tomorrow. She said she's got to be in Owasso tomorrow, to see Dr. Pasha, but excuse me. So she's got to have that done. And I asked her, I said, "So whose ass do I need to chew out? Who do I need to light a fire under?" And she says, "I've been doing that." And then um, after I had said that, I was thinking, well, if mom doesn't sign documentation allowing the doctors to release her information to me, her son, then there's nothing I can do. I can't say anything. I can't demand anything because they have to go by HIPAA laws. And if my mom didn't sign or put my name on the document that she had to sign for the release of information, then there's nothing I can say or do. My hands are tied. Um, I got to thinking about that. And so but I'm still very upset that this is happening and it's come down to that. Um, all I can do is just wish the best for my mom. I'm gonna be there for her as much as I can. I was supposed to take her tomorrow to her appointment, but, the friend that she's staying with, he's gonna be taking her. So it's like, okay, it wasn't a problem for me to take her. It wouldn't have been a problem, but she decided that her friend is gonna be taking her instead. So, okay, fine, whatever. Now with my dad, um, well, they found like I don't know, a mass or something. It's about, I think he said 3 centimeters in his stomach. So there's that to deal with. And between my mom's health, my dad's health, and some other just unnecessary bullshit happening in my life, I have been stressed out. I've been very stressed, you know. I went out to where I went out to. It was nice to get away for a few days, in spite of everything happening here at home. It was still nice to get away. I could breathe, I could relax, I could meet people, which I did. I made some new friends, and the vacation was awesome. I got to meet a cancer survivor, and of course, I stayed with some friends whose grandson is autistic. So it's been a turbulent past couple weeks. But as far as my mom's health goes and my dad's health, I'm not picking my nose, by the way. I got an itch. Uh, between my parents' health, my mom's health, my dad's health, and just other unnecessary drama from, you know, it's just stems from pettiness. I have been stressed to the max. I don't have time for, just unnecessary bullshit. Um, I'm trying to get everything sorted out. I'm trying to live my life and I'm trying to accept things for what they are. I fear every day since I've found out about this with my mom. I fear every day that I'm going to lose her. I have mentioned this any number of times in a Sunday video update that yes, death is a natural part of life. We all got to go eventually. But my parents are both in their 60s. Mom's health isn't the greatest, and now this new, finding from my dad, this new discovery going on with my dad. I'm not ready for that. I mean, I don't think you're ever truly ready for that, but, I just got so much going on my plate right now, and I'm really stressed. Um, Crystal, I just tuned in, I could pray for thank you, Crystal, and I hope you're doing well. I know who this Crystal is, by the way. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, Crystal, there's been a lot going on. I was out of Michigan. I was in a different state from last Saturday to last Wednesday. It was great, but it's going to be a while before I travel again because I really need to stick around here, and I need to take care of things at home and find out what's going on before I make any future travel plans. I was kind of pissed off at United Airlines because so here's the deal. I ordered a round trip ticket, okay? And I figured, okay, nope, I'm not I am trusting in God. Okay, well, that's another conversation for another. When you get time, email me. I sent you an email. Okay, Crystal, I'll do that. Um, I'm not really happy with United Airlines. I mean, they pulled some shady shit with me in regards to um, purchasing the airline ticket because I purchased a round trip airfare ticket. I went through, I figured, okay, because it says you're allowed to take one free item. I'm thinking, okay, that's my carry-on. Nope, had to pay 35 bucks for that. Then, I had to pick and choose. Well, they assigned my seat, but I had to pay for my seats. And that was like 11 bucks. Okay, not a big deal. I thought that covered both ways, and it didn't. So the guy that I stayed with, he says, "Look, I'll pay, for," because they weren't gonna give me my boarding passes until I paid for the one piece of luggage that I had, the one bag I had. They weren't gonna give me my boarding passes until I paid that, which I thought, "What the fuck is that about?" Um, So, it was kind of a shady move on behalf of United Airlines, and I was really disgusted with the shit that they pulled on me. Um, so in exchange for that, he told me that I could get his grandson, a teddy bear, because I took my Jared Bear with me, and his grandson was just all over Jared Bear. He was just, hugging Jared Bear, kissing him all over. He was just showing him all kinds of love. And I told the guy I was staying with, I said, "Look, I'll make a deal with you." Actually, he made a deal with me. He says, "Well, you know what? Instead of paying me back the money, because it was like 35 bucks just to get back home to Michigan." He says, instead of paying me back the money that I spent to pay for the baggage and for the boarding passes," he said, "just get my grandson, get him his own teddy bear." So I ordered when I got back home, I ordered the teddy bear on the internet, and I'm having it shipped to his house. And I told his grandpa, I said, "Whenever he hugs that bear, tell him that he's hugging me," because he did not want me to come back home. His grandson was glued to me. He's only 5 years old. He did not want me to come home. He even, to the airport. He's sitting in a car seat in the back seat. I'm sitting next to him, and I'm just kinda looking around. It's still dark. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm kinda just looking at the sights, all the scenery, all the city lights and everything on our way to the airport, and he was, like, totally just snuggled up to me. He says, "I don't want you to go home." And I'm sorry, man, I don't have a choice. I have to go home. I have things to do. I have some things I need to tend to. I have some other responsibilities that I have to take care of. And, provided that he's autistic, I tried to explain in a way that he might understand. But there having an autistic child, or, I mean, if you're a caregiver of an autistic child, I don't need to preach to the choir, but for those of you who may not be familiar with that, there's not a blanket statement, for autistic children across the board, and it's the same with childhood cancer. There's not a blanket statement. Um, everybody's different. Autism, just like childhood cancer, affects different people differently. Um So, and it's not just childhood cancer, I guess I should say cancer in general. Um, but he was really sad that I had to come home. I was very confident in the fact that, you know what, he's 5 years old, he'll forget about it. He'll move on. He won't forget me, and he won't forget the fact that I was there, but he'll get over the fact that I had to come home. And I think he did. And so yeah, that was kind of difficult. But when he had a 2-hour long meltdown last week, he was coming at me, like I said, he was coming on strong. He was throwing hands and fists, and the tears, he had just the tears were just running down his face, and you could see the tracks of his tears on his cheeks. And he was really upset. Now, with autism, little things can trigger meltdowns. Um, it's not a temper tantrum, and I know people like to misconstrue a meltdown as a tantrum. It's not the same thing, although there may be some things that are mutually exclusive to one another that would draw a correlation between a tantrum and a meltdown, like anger, for example. That would probably be the main, thing, the main commonality between a tantrum and a meltdown. A tantrum is not a meltdown. An autistic meltdown is it's just totally different. Um But I wasn't even mad at him that he had taken swings at me. I would rather he take a swing at me than somebody else, because somebody else, may not have responded in a polite, friendly way. Whereas when this was happening, the whole time this is happening, I'm telling myself, he's a 5-year-old autistic kid. It's nothing personal. He's having a meltdown. And yes, Crystal, it could be something in the brain, yes. Um, it's I just couldn't be mad at him. I mean, he's a 5-year-old kid. I mean, he's having a meltdown. There's nothing I can do. I let it run its course. But I told him every time he'd swing at me, I would block his hits, and I would tell him, "I love you. I love you, but this is not happening." And my eyes got big when I told him because I looked right in his eyes, and I said, "I love you, but this is not happening." And I had one wrist in each hand. I wasn't squeezing his wrists. I was just holding them so he could not swing anymore. Um, so, I mean, I know how to handle children in any situation. It was the first time I'd actually had an autistic child, um, come at me. Um, but like I said, it wasn't personal. It was nothing personal. And I don't love him any less than I did before. So I just wanted to make that known. And, it's not the same as a temper tantrum. It's just not. Um, Amy might be joining us here in a little bit. You probably hear the dogs barking outside. Um, I don't know why now of all times you're gonna, the dog's gonna bark because she's coming in. Um, but anyway, yeah. So you're hearing my brother's dog out there. There's been a lot going on. Like I said, just in terms of um, my mom's health, my dad's health, um, and just other things that just mean nothing at all. They're just a time waste. They're a time suck. And now Amy's joining us. She
Hey
says,
everybody, I'm in Canada this week,
"Yeah,
but I'm running away, Jared.
okay, well, run away. Run away,
I couldn't
hop.
get my phone to work, so she ain't able to use it.
Run away, run along, grasshopper." Um,
I'm running my room.
but yeah, so there's been a lot going on. My Easter was phenomenal. I can't stop thinking about that. Um, my dad went down to the neighbor because I had gotten an Easter basket for the neighbor kid, and it had like a squirt gun and some candy like Swedish fish and M&Ms and things like that. And dad went down there in a nonchalant manner and he was like, "Hey, buddy, I heard there was an Easter bunny sighting in the neighborhood. Did the Easter bunny stop here?" And he said, "Yeah, yeah, he left me a Easter basket and he gave me a Nerf gun and we had pictures taken together," which we did. And but he has no idea that it was me in the costume. Um, but I think I'm going to do the same. I'm going to go down to the neighbor's house. I'm just going to act nonchalant and it's like, "Well, hey, buddy, I heard there was an Easter bunny sighting on Easter, but man, I have no idea. I didn't see an Easter bunny. Did you?" And just kind of have it on that level of conversation. Because you got to give kids something to believe, even though it's like, yeah, I found out the truth about a lot of things when I was probably, oh, I'd say I was probably about 10. I don't know how old, his name is Aiden, by the way, the neighbor kid. His name is Aiden. So I don't know how old Aiden is. Um, but I was probably around, I'd say about the age of 10 when I really thought about it. It's like, this can't be true. Uh, so that's when I kind of stopped believing. But I did it to create memories for that kid, just like all the other kids that I was Easter Bunny for on Easter. And of course, especially, of course, for all of the elderly people at Chesaning Comfort Care. Um, they appreciated the fact that I would, dress up as the Easter Bunny and be the Easter Bunny for all of the residents at Chesaning Comfort Care because, like I said, most of them, if not all of them, are decrepit. They're octogenarian. They're pretty much, they're no spring chickens. They're up there in age. Um, and I was happy to be able to provide some sunshine and laughter and smiles to the faces of people who are stuck in a home. I wanted to provide some relief for them and to maybe perhaps take their mind off of the life they're currently living, even just for a few moments. I think it done a world of good for a lot of people. It done a world of good for me. It actually made my heart full knowing that I could entertain some kids as the Easter Bunny on top of entertaining some old folks in the old folks home. So
Just
I'm
wish they would have posted the picture.
I know they said they were gonna post the pictures. I haven't seen them yet. I don't know, maybe they won't. But either way, I was still happy to do it, and, I'm just I'm just thrilled and I'm honored to know that I could actually be somebody to provide that for other people. And I'm probably gonna do it again next year. I'm just gonna have a different suit, one that I can fit in because the Velcro kept coming off at the
Maybe
back.
try to get both nursing homes.
I have no idea. I don't know
I
because
don't know if
dad's
one.
dad's gonna be wearing the suit that I have now
Yeah.
because it's gonna fit him better than it's gonna fit me. I'm too broad in the shoulders. Um, but I'm gonna look into getting another bunny costume and hopefully it'll be one that will fit me. I might even have to have one specially made. I'll have to find maybe somewhere local in the area to see if they could, because I'd have to be fitted. They would have to take measurements of my arms and my hands and stuff and my height. So, yeah, that'll be something I'll have to really look into for next year. But, yeah, when you can provide a great memory and if you can help to take someone's mind off of the current situation for even a few moments,
Too bad you couldn't have taken
that's
it on your
that
trip.
that's power for me. Yeah, I'm not taking my Easter bunny costume to
But
where I was
yeah, but you know what I mean.
in the undisclosed location that we're not going to say.
Yeah, I just said that it would have been
Yeah.
cool if you could have.
But with it being 95 degrees, no, it wouldn't have.
Oh,
Because where I was, it was very hot. Um,
right.
um, but yeah, so there's been a lot happening.
Too much.
A very lot happening. And I don't want to get into too much detail because I don't want to put a lot of information out there. But of course, my dad's health, my mom's health. I was away for a few days. Easter was great. And by the way, even after I had gotten done being the Easter bunny for some people, some kids and older people, I still came home and I prepared a small Easter feast. So we just had mashed potatoes, a shank ham, and I think we had biscuits.
Uh-huh.
We had, yeah. So it wasn't anything big or fancy. I didn't make any casseroles or anything. We just wanted to eat. And so we did that.
We figured too. It was only three of us. Why
Yeah, we
make
didn't need
anything big like we normally do?
Yeah, we didn't need anything big or fancy. It was just dad, Amy, and myself.
Normally, if we make this bunch, then it doesn't all get ate up and it goes bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And I
the four-legged animals get it.
and yeah, or I probably would have just given it to somebody else, if they were hungry. But
Are you trying to steal my
so
stuff?
um yeah, there's just a lot of drama going on right now. I've been helping my brother with some things. I don't want to get into too much detail about that, but I've been helping him. And yesterday, I was in Saginaw, visited with my older brother Wayne, and it was actually nice to see him. I hadn't seen him since long before I left, even since before Easter, I hadn't seen him. So I went to Saginaw, visited with him for a little while. Everything's good with him. It's my other brother Jay. He's in a bit of a bind right now, and so there's drama going on with that. But other than that, personally myself, other than being stressed about everything else going on, I've been doing okay, I guess. I'm doing as best as I can to the best of my ability. And I know that I just want to say there are things on this channel that I have said in the past, and there are things I'm probably going to say in the future, and people aren't going to agree with it. People are going to be offended by it. Um, that's why before I left on my vacation, I had recorded the editorial offenses is taken, it's not given. Because something told me that after I had dropped the video about how prayer doesn't work, because it doesn't, something told me, you know what, I should record the next editorial, kind of keep it brief about, because I know some people are going to get offended by it. Drop a video, record it, create it and drop it before I leave on my trip, because there's going to be someone who's going to, get their panties in a twist. And so that's what I did. But there's going to be things that I say that you don't necessarily agree with, and that's fine. It doesn't mean that, you know, there are things that you say that I don't. Whoops, sorry, bump my pop filter here. There are things that some people say or believe that I don't agree with, but that doesn't prevent me from being their friend. We can. I don't prefer agree to disagree, because as I pointed out in the editorial about offenses taken not given, it's just a lazy way of approaching an issue where all sides have not been examined, because agreeing to go to disagree is more or less just saying talk to the hand. I don't want to listen to you. Well, I would rather not talk to a hand. I would rather talk to a person, because talking helps to, we can dissect problems. If there is a misunderstanding, we can talk about it. Conflict resolution, that's always been my go-to. We can talk about things, we can dissect things. I can tell you, hey, I disagree with this, I disagree with that, but I'm not attacking anybody. I'm attacking ideas. Now, my daily rants, that's an entirely different fucking story. I will attack people because they've attacked me. Or in the case where they just want to believe shit for no good reason, I'm going to attack them and tell them, hey, if you're going to believe everything you're told without actually thinking about it or looking for evidence that makes a claim true, you're just a straight up fucking douchebag. You're an idiot. So, um, I would rather attack ideas than not people, if it can be helped. And it's not always something that can be helped. I mean, there's times when I get so frustrated with people, and it's like, you are fucking stupid. Why would you believe something for no good reason? That's what I attack. And the people who just willingly believe a rumor, I just, there's no hope for them. But yeah, there are going to be moments when I offend people, and that's just too bad. I don't whine about it. I don't cry about it. I don't cry foul or victim. If I don't agree with what someone says, it's like, okay, whatever. I'll just move on, because I've had to listen to that for any number of years, just like you have. There's always someone in a crowd of people whining and belly aching and bitching because they're offended by something that someone said. Well, you know what? You're not going to always hear things that you disagree with. But the key is to still get along and to treat people with respect and decency, despite the fact that you disagree with them on something. I don't want to agree to disagree on anything. I want to have the conversations. So um, that's where I am on that. Um, I don't have hate in my heart. A lot of people misconstrue this as, oh, because Jared attacks something that I believe in, then he has hate in his heart. I'm not a hateful person. I have no hate in my heart. But I do not tolerate bad ideas. I don't like bad ideas. I don't like bad arguments. I don't like gossip. I don't like rumors. I don't like people who will blindly believe something without actually being able to demonstrate the validity of the claim being made about something or someone. I'm not a fan of just flying blind in life and thinking, well, let's just go with a made up story. We'll go with something that shoehorns our initial reactions and thoughts about the individual at hand. Um, or this makes us feel better and more comfortable. So let's go with what makes us feel better as opposed to what's actually true and purports to reality. I would much rather know what's true. Even if it is uncomfortable, I'd rather know. And I think that's why I always tell my parents, if there's something going on, you got to tell me. It's going to hurt me, but I got to know. And that's been the case for the past, I'd say, a couple weeks or maybe a little longer, because with my mom, this has been ongoing. So it's been beyond a couple of weeks. But I'm still, I'm scared. I'm frightened for my mom. I'm not ready to lose my parents. It's just not something that you're ever really prepared to do. You're not prepared for that eventuality. You're not prepared. You'll never be prepared for that. And it scares me. It scares me to death. But it is a reality, and it is something I have to take into consideration. I feel a sneeze coming. Whew, hold on. Oh, but Crystal, if you're still in here, yeah, I will. I will get to your email when I am done with this live stream, which is going to end at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So about, say about another 25 minutes. Um, so when I was out where I was, um, the last place we went to, we had eaten at a place called Red Robin, and the little autistic boy, which I didn't think he'd do it, but he did it. His grandpa's like, "Hey, tell our waitress that, you wanna take her out on a date." Well, the waitress came back. Her name was Alex, by the way. She came back around, and she had taken our order, and the boy there's something going on with my lenses here and my glasses. Well, the boy wanted a fruit cup, and she says, "Well, what is your name?" She asked the kid, "What is your name?" And he told her, he took her hand and he told her, he says, "This is my name is the," and he says, "I wanna go out on a date with you." I didn't think he'd do it. I didn't think he'd say it, but his it's like, wow, this kid has got and he just fearless. And his face, or her face rather, Alex's face, the waitress's face turned as red as my beard. And I'm just sitting there like, "Oh my god, he actually said it. He actually wanted to go on a date." And his grandpa kind of put him up to it, but just to see if he'd say it, he said it. And then before we left, he proposed marriage to the waitress. And it's like, oh my god, her face, I mean, she blushed like no other. I mean, her face was as red as a ketchup bottle at our table. I mean, she's like, "Oh, he is so cute. He is so adorable." You know? Um, it was just wow, it was a great time. It was funny, it was hilarious, but I'm thinking, "Oh my god, this kid just proposed marriage to our waitress at the Red Robin." Uh, I thought it was funny, and kinda cute. Um, yeah, he's 5 years old, but, uh, yeah, so I mean, yeah, it was a great time, and it did take my mind off of a lot of things. But United Airlines had really given me a runaround, and I had kinda had to bitch them out a little bit because it's like, well, if I paid for a round trip airfare ticket, I would expect to have seats available when I purchased the ticket. And as it turns out, I didn't. And they said, well, the airport officials or the flight officials, whatever, they can assign you a seat free of charge. I don't care where I sit. As long as I'm not sitting on the wing of the fucking aircraft, I don't care where you put me. I don't care if I have aisle seats, window seats, or in the middle between two people. I don't care. So luckily, I didn't have to sit in the middle of anybody, but it was um, United Airlines. They really got to get their shit together. And I think Dad was right, or maybe he may have been onto something. When the pandemic happened, the airlines lost a shit ton of money, and now they are doing everything to penny nickel and dime the fuck out of the general public to get all that money back. And it's like, well, if I buy a round trip airfare ticket, I would suspect that the seats are already available. And it's like, you guys are really giving me a runaround. And then it's like they were holding me hostage. It's almost like they were kidnapping me in a sense because they weren't going to give me my boarding passes until I paid for my bag. And it's the same bag that I had when I went to Louisiana to stay with the Anthony family. So it's like I never went through this with Delta Airlines. Delta Airlines, they were very, very good with me. I don't know if Delta flies out of Saginaw. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure they do. But it's like, you guys, Delta never pulled this shit with me, and you guys are just really, you want the money coming, and it's like I gotta get home. I have shit to do. And so, the guy I was staying with, he made it right with me, and I made it right with him. He says, "Well, you know, you because you flew all the way out here, 2,000 miles away from home, you came all the way out here to see us. Guess what? I'll pay for your bag to get back home." So, what I did was, because I was just gonna pay him cash, he says, "You know what? Get my grandson his own teddy bear." Okay, cool. I can do that. So, when I got home, I went to Owasso, I put money on my card, ordered something offline, a teddy bear, and I'm having it shipped to the boy's house. So, I'm sure I'll be seeing pictures. Um, I, uh, I didn't wanna come home, but I knew I had to. I was kinda getting a little homesick, you know? It happens sometimes. I mean, when you're away from home and you just miss home, you know, you're not used to seeing all the different sights, but it was kinda cool. I got to ride in a big rig. I was in a semi truck, which I thought was pretty cool. Um, yeah, so it was a busy time. It was a fun time. Got to meet a cancer survivor, had pictures taken. She had a picture taken with my Jared bear, and, yeah, it was great. It was awesome. And, we're still keeping in touch, by the way, and yeah, so there's just so much going on, and, um, that's where I am now. I'm back home, trying to take it easy, but it seems like when I come back home, it's like I hit a wall of drama, just instant, you know? Like, okay, I'm home, and now I've got a bunch of shit coming at me, all these issues. Now, you know, I'm worrying about my mom, my dad, um, you know, there's a lot of shit going on with my brother, and just people in general who, you know, they give me a bunch of shit for the most minuscule things, and I don't have time for it. So, but I deal with it all accordingly. I don't, you know, I don't play games. I don't fuck around. Um, I don't like to put people in their places, but you know, sometimes it has to be done. It's not something I enjoy, but it's necessary. Um, I'm gonna check my social media here real quick, guys. I'm not being, uh, you know, unsociable or anything. I just want to check my notification because I thought I heard a phone ding. Wasn't me. Okay. Let's see here. All right. It wasn't me. Okay, good. But anyway, um, it's great to be back home and um yeah, so there's just a lot of things I have to do, a lot of things I have to get caught up on. Um I have a lot to write in the journal, which I've been writing a lot in the journal lately, and I had written in the journal when I was visiting with my friends. It's like, oh, now I'm in this state. So I've been to 8 states so far, and it's been great. I've been enjoying myself. You know, the fear of flying was something I had to really get over. Because at first it's like, "Oh, getting on a plane, I don't know if I'm gonna like this," you know? I'd rather take a bus or take a train or, you know, if it's within driving distance, I'd rather just drive to the location. But I forced myself to get over the fear of flying because it's like, you know, yeah, it sounds scary. It sounds like, you know, it'd be a terrifying experience. It's really not. Um, because I think this is what I think about when I travel, when I fly to different states and I meet people. That's what I think about, meeting people. Yes, I'll go through the fear. I'll face the fear of flying if it means that I get to if there's gonna be a reward for me waiting on the other end of that fear, then it's worth it, and the reward is meeting up with people. There's still lots of people who want me to fly out to meet them. Um, you know, I've been invited to lots of different places. I mean, I've been invited to, I don't know. I've been invited to Florida. I've been invited to Kentucky. I've been invited to Pennsylvania. I've been invited to Maryland. I've been invited to Washington State. I've been invited to Arizona. I've been invited to California, Kansas, Oklahoma. I've been invited to all these different states, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Um, I've been invited everywhere. the Carolinas. I've been invited everywhere, but I have to really be, um, I have to be financially stable in order to make sure that, I can afford airfare, round trip airfare. And I have to make sure that I have a place to stay when I get there because I don't want to find out at long last that, well, you're all the way out here. We don't have enough room to accommodate you. So you're going to have to shell out more money for a motel. I have to make all these, I have to find out prior to going to these places because if not, I don't want to be stuck in the street. So we make these plans and these decisions prior to me flying out to wherever it is my friends are. Um, I, I and this is something else too. Like there's people who fly and they get that head rush. When you take off and then when you land, when you get in the lower altitudes, you get that head rush. This is how I figured out how to do this. So when you get ready to take off, like you taxi on the freeway or the freeway. Jesus Christ, listen to me. Taxiing on the freeway. No, taxiing on the runway is what I meant to say. You taxi on the runway, really slowly. You'll know it when you're going to take off because then they step on it, they floor it to get airspeed. When you go up, what you do is you sit back in the seat and you have your head elevated like this because the blood will go to the back of your head. Therefore, you won't get the head rush because when they take off, they go straight up. So and kind of on an angle. So when you're in the seat, doesn't matter if you're aisle or window, makes no difference. You just sit back, you have your head up like this, you lean back, and then there's no head rush. As far as the ears popping, you might have to chew gum or get earplugs. Um, I usually chew gum. I get the extra spearmint gum or peppermint, depending. But that's the little trick I learned about, takeoff when you before you take off and you want to avoid the head rush because if you have motion sickness, that head rush is going to fuck you up, like royally fuck you up. Because when I landed at my destination last Saturday, I felt sick when I got off the plane. And it was because I had the air blowing on my face constantly and I didn't know how to shut it off. There's a little gadget. Quiet, bear. There's a little gadget um, above my head, and it was blowing cold air in my face constantly, and I didn't know how to shut it off. And then the change in the altitude made my stomach upset, and I thought I was going to pass out. But no, I figured out the system. Just lean back, have your head up, and you can close your eyes or whatever. The turbulence, yeah, you're gonna at some point run into turbulence. The turbulence didn't even I mean, at first I was afraid because if the plane started to shake, the cabin started shaking. It's like, what the fuck? No, 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 that's just turbulence, man. You're good. And as it turns out, it can be kind of scary when you experience turbulence, but um, yeah, I mean, it kind of comes and goes. And yeah, then once you get over the fear of flying, once you understand what turbulence is, and when you understand um, that you know how to avoid getting a head rush, then you're going to want to fly all the time if you have the money. It's kind of addicting in a way. Uh, I don't know. I There's a lot of people I know who say, "Well, I don't want to fly. I'm afraid to fly. Fuck flying." Well, there's nothing to it. There's nothing to it at all. Um, Granted, I like I said, you have the fear of flying, and you hear it on the news all the time about people who wig out on the planes. I have never had that experience. And that's a very rare occurrence. It's not like it happens every single day, as far as I know, or at least if it does, they're not reporting on it. But I never have that issue. It's usually everybody's calm, cool, collected. We're all trying to get buckled in. We're trying to get our baggage up in the overhead bins, which I couldn't do because my bag wasn't considered carry-on. It was basic economy, which means that I couldn't, my bags were going to be waiting for me at my destinations. I couldn't take them with me on the plane, which I thought was pretty fucked up, but I digress. Um, Next time I travel, which it's not gonna be anytime soon, but the next time I travel, I'm gonna make sure I dot my I's and cross my T's. I almost said it backwards. I almost said it backwards. I'm going to definitely make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. Baggage, my seats, everything. Um, I'm not, I'm not really picky on where I sit on a jet plane. I I don't care if it's aisle, window. To me it makes no difference. Just get me from point A to point B and I'm good. And it was actually the first time I'd ever been to Chicago. Chicago's a big place. Big place. But that's not where I was. Just in case you're wondering. I was in Chicago, but that wasn't my final place. That wasn't my final stopping place. Um, that was just the layover. Chicago was just the layover. I'm gonna check the time here because I think we're getting close. Yeah, we have about 10 minutes left of this week's Sunday video update. I appreciate all of you stopping in and joining me. Um, Typically, I'm here every Sunday from 3 o'clock until 4 o'clock Eastern time. And I talk about the week in review, but this week I had 2 weeks to cover because I have been away for 2 weeks. And this antenna you see behind me, this is from my NOAA weather radio, which we are in severe weather season, and these radios really come in handy. I'm gonna lift it up so you guys can see. These radios really come in handy. I gotta set the time on it because the time is wrong, but anytime a watch or a warning is issued for the area, this weather radio will go absolutely fucking berserk, but in a good way, because it's just warning you that severe weather is imminent and a warning has been issued for your location, and um, take precautionary measures to keep yourself safe, and yeah, all that good stuff. So yeah, it's my NOAA weather radio. That's the antenna that you're seeing behind me. I'm not growing a pair of ears, It's it's my antenna. Um, Warnings are good. Yeah, well, warnings are just telling you that severe weather is imminent in your location. That's how that works. I don't know how it works in Canada, but I know here in the States they go by county instead of, the entire state, depending on the storm system. They'll issue a watch or an advisory ahead of the storm to get people prepared for potential nasty weather. Um, but anyway, guys, yeah, so personally myself, like I said, other than being overly stressed about a lot of things going on, um, I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there. I'm trying to be strong. I don't really entertain the pettiness of people because I do not have time for it. I'm gonna have to take care of those lenses here. And speaking of glasses, I am actually expecting a new pair. I'm gonna have to go pick them up tomorrow over in St. Charles. Um, I was in an eye examination on my dad's birthday, and they said that I was due for a new pair, which I'm looking forward to because I could use a new pair of spectacles. Um, so though these are going to be history, these are going bye bye. But I will be um, getting a new pair of glasses pretty soon. So that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Tomorrow, my mom has a doctor appointment. Dad has an appointment on Tuesday in Saginaw, so I'm going to be taking him to that. And I think that appointment is going to last him at least a good 3 or 4 hours. So I'm going to be in Saginaw for a majority of the day on Tuesday. And I think he said he had another appointment on Friday in Saginaw, but I would have to check with him. So, and the reason I announce the plans for the upcoming week is because I know lots of people, whether they're friends with me or not. I know only the people who matter. I'll put it that way. Only the people who matter. They like to know what's going on in my life. So I make these announcements so that way they know that, okay, Jared is going to be here at this time. Jared's going to be there at that time. So I won't, if I text him or I try to call him, I'll know that he is unable to reply or respond to my call because he is, at an appointment, or he's busy doing something else, or there's something going on and it's keeping me busy. Nice. It's good to hear you're doing good. That makes me happy. Well, I appreciate you very much, Crystal. It's been a long time since we've talked. We really got to catch up. As a matter of fact, I'm going to check my email right now. Um, I'm going to check it right now. Crystal, I really wish you were back on Facebook, but I've said a lot of things about Facebook too that I don't necessarily agree with. And Crystal, your email is not showing up in my inbox. So I don't know if you sent it to the wrong email or yeah, my spam. Okay, I can do that. So 1 second, guys. Just checking, letting all the stuff load. I don't know if you guys heard this or not. Um, no, it's not in the spam either, Crystal. There's nothing from you in my spam folder. Did you follow the email address? Did you follow the email address that is provided on this channel? Because there's nothing showing up in my spam folders or my inbox. Well, I don't know why it didn't come through. Because your email, or your email did not appear in my spam folder or in my main inbox. Um, and I'm looking thoroughly. There is nothing here from you. Okay, give me a minute. I will try and resend. Okay, sounds good. I'm going to be leaving here in a few minutes because it's going on 4 o'clock. I have other things I got to do. There's a live stream that I have to go watch called The Line with Matt Dillahunty, and I think I set the reminder for that. Now that I reminded myself, now I guess I can go make sure. Uh, let's see. Um, okay, yep, the notification is on. Great. All right. Now, in closing, I just wanted to say before I go, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but it's been all over YouTube. Um, it's very fucking gross and disturbing, but I'm going to share it anyway. Um, the Dalai Lama. For those of you who know who the Dalai Lama is, he's a religious guru or whatever. He was on video, talking. There was a little boy, and he gave the little boy a kiss on the mouth, by the way. And then he asked the kid, and this is really fucking disturbing, but he asked the kid to suck on his tongue. Very fucking gross. And I don't care if you're the Dalai Lama. I don't care if you're Pat Robertson. I don't care if you're Peter Popoff. I don't care if you're Jesus Christ himself. That is fucking nasty. It's just gross. And it's gone viral. The Dalai Lama video has gone viral where he asks a kid to suck on his tongue and all that shit. It's fucking nasty. I don't care who you are. You should be called out on it. We're in this cancel culture bullshit way of thinking now. It's a wonder that the Dalai Lama has not been canceled, unless he already has been, and I'm not aware of it. But I mean, how disgusting and disturbing is that? To tell a kid, "Oh, hey, suck my tongue, kid." I mean, what the fuck? What's wrong with you? It's gross. It is just straight up nasty as fuck. Uh, I'm not making it up. I mean, Joe Rogan talked about this. Bill Maher, just this past Friday on Real Time, he talked about it in overtime. It's it's fucking nasty. Like, really. It's just religion really does a number. And I'm not going to get into the whole spiel because, quite frankly, I don't have time. And as a matter of fact, we have just officially hit the 1 hour mark. It is 4 o'clock. My name is Jared Fuller. I got to run. I got to go watch another live stream. I will see you all next Sunday. Thanks for stopping by. And it's great to be back home. So much love. Peace out, guys. Take care. See ya. Bye, Crystal. Take care and see you next week.